Welcome to a special bonus episode of Geek In. My name is Doug Croft, and I'm really excited today to be able to share this with you. I have a new book, Tad Williams, The Heart of What Was Lost. This is an advanced reading copy. The book does not officially come out until January, but I'm so excited to finally have this and be able to share my reaction to it. I just got it, I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to read it. This is a New York Comic Con exclusive. Tad Williams is one of my favorite authors. I really love the Austin Art series. I read that series so many times, and for the last 20 years there haven't been any new Austin Art books. He wrote 3 books. That was it. That was all there was, and there was no more. Well, there was a short story on Legends, but I am so excited to finally get a new Austin Art book. And Tad Williams announced last year that there were going to be 3 new books in the Austin Art universe. The first one is going to be The Witchwood Crown, the second one is going to be Empire of Grass, and the third one is going to be The Navigator's Children. And then he announced that there's going to be a bridging book between the original trilogy and the new trilogy. And this is that bridging book. So it's going to cover kind of the span of time between the 2 series. What happens during that span of time. So I'm extremely excited to have this a few months early. And I'm going to read it right away and give you my spoiler-free reaction to the book. So, I can't wait to get started. Let's go. And it's got all new illustrations by Michael Whalen. This is a Michael Whalen cover here. He did the original illustrations for the Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn series, and his cover for Two Green Angel Tower is one of my favorite book covers ever. I really love that cover where you have Simon and Miriamil on one side, and then you have Aditu and Jiriki on the other. I was kind of hoping that this was going to be in Dreju. I was hoping it was going to be like real Witchwood, but apparently not. Foam, but it's still going to be fun to play with while I'm reading. Acknowledgements, author's note, nothing there yet. But we do have the map here. And then part 1. The title of the first chapter is The Ruined Fortress. There are so many ruined fortresses in this world already. Which one could it be talking about? Let's find out. Okay, I've finished reading the book. It's about a little after 1 a.m. here, so I finished it pretty quickly, I thought, but this is a fantastic book. It's very, what can I say without giving spoilers away? It takes place at maybe about a month or so after the end of Two Green Angel Tower. It follows Duke Isgrimnur, and it's the story of the Norns, basically. What happened with the Norns at the end of Two Green Angel Tower? Obviously, they didn't just disappear, or at least not completely. They were defeated, of course, but what happened with them? And in the original trilogy, of course, they're just kind of an implacable enemy. You only get to see one side of them. But if you've ever been curious about Norns and the Norn society, this is the book for you, because suddenly we get to see all the other sides of their society. You know, when Simon was staying with the Zidaya and Zhao Yitinukai, we got to see their society and how it functions. And this is very much like that, except for the Hekedia, the Norns. We get to see what their society is like, what the other great house of the Gardenborn is like. And I thought that was really excellent. You know, it adds a whole other layer of subtlety and meaning to what we saw in the first 3 books. Is it's setting up characters that are going to be important later, I think, in the succeeding trilogy of books. The Witchwood Crown, Empire of Grass, and the Navigator's Children. So, I think one of the characters in this book in particular is going to be important in the new series of books. And so he gets an introduction here. I really love this series, and I missed these characters. You know, I mean, we didn't get many of our old favorites. Just a couple: Duke Isgrimnur, Sluttig. When you read the original series, you kind of felt sorry for the Zedia and everything that they had gone through. You know, you realize what they had lost, what had been taken away from them as a people. And now in this book, you kind of have the same thing, but with the Norns. You see what the Norns have lost as a people. You see what's been taken away from them, and you kind of feel for them. You know, in the original trilogy, the Hekedia are just this implacable enemy that will not stop. But in this book, you see a new side of them. They're not just this implacable enemy. They're their own society. They have individual people. Some are good, some are not so good. But you kind of get a feel for their identity as a people, their traditions, the things that are important to them, and you start to understand their loss, their sense of history, and why they hate mortals so much, why they hate the Sudhodia, and what's been taken away from them. You empathize with them a little bit in this book. You know, they're not just the cold-blooded killers that you saw from the first 3 novels. And I think that's an important thing to note. You know, is that everybody sees themselves a certain way. And while the Norn Queen was obviously very evil and very maddened by what had happened to her, it wasn't just the loss of Druki that had done this to her. There were other things going on, and she had this kind of mad desire to destroy everyone. Yeah, this was a really good book. I really enjoyed it. I mean, coming back to Ostenard after not having an Ostenard story for 20 years or more, I mean, it was amazing. And I was really excited to get this book, and this book did not disappoint me. You know, when it comes out in January, definitely put it on your buy list. You know, pre-order it now. You know, it's very good. If you're a fan of Duke Isgrimnur, you get to see a lot of him in this book. But other characters from the stories, not so much. But if you're interested at all in the history of the Gardenborn and the Hekedia in particular, you're going to love this book, because he goes right into that history and right into that culture and you see a whole new side of it. Thanks for joining me for this special episode of Geek In. Go ahead and hit those like and subscribe buttons if you haven't. I would really appreciate that. There are also some links to social media below. And join me next time when I get a real Witchwood sword, not a foam sword. Tad Williams, The Heart of What Was Lost. And find bookstores everywhere, starting in January.